This is Terry, and on this video, we're going to talk about absolute values. So absolute values, I have three things written across here, and they all kind of look the same, a little bit different. You can see there's negative signs in there, but you'll see a pair of lines, a black pair of lines around each one, and that is an absolute value sign. So an absolute value is just a solid line on each side of something. And what the absolute value tells us is just that no matter what's inside or between those set of lines, it's always going to be a positive. So let's look at the first one on the left. We have the absolute value of 5. And so we know 5 is just 5, right? And so whatever the positive of that is still just 5. Okay, so let's look at the next one. We have the absolute value of a negative 5. So we know the value of that is negative 5, but the absolute value is always just the positive of that. So that would become a positive 5. So either one, a 5 or a negative 5, if they have absolute values, they become a 5. All right, so let's look at one more here. We have a negative, and then we have absolute values of a negative 5. So if you'll notice, that negative is outside the absolute value sign. This one right here, he is outside, so we have to write him down because he is not affected by the absolute value signs. Then we have the absolute value of a negative 5. And we know the absolute value is always the positive of that, so it would be a 5. So this answer would be a negative 5. All right, so hopefully you're kind of getting the idea of this. So let's see what this would look like in an actual problem. So I'm going to scroll up just a little bit here. Maybe you can still kind of see that at the top. All right, so let's write down a problem here. We're going to say y plus absolute value of x plus 3, close our absolute value, equals 5. And we're going to say this is if x equals negative 5. So we've got a couple of different things we've got going on here. First of all, we know x is negative 5. So we want to rewrite this problem, replacing that negative 5 in for that x, right? So we have y plus absolute value. And remember, this time x is going to be negative 5. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. And then plus 3, close our absolute value sign, equals 5. So just like when we do orders of operation, whatever's inside is kind of like, it looks kind of like a set of parentheses. So we're going to treat it kind of like that. So this will be y plus absolute value. What's negative 5 plus 3? We know that is a negative 2. Keep our absolute value bars and bring down. All right, now we have nothing else around the absolute value, so we're going to say y plus. And what is the absolute value of a negative 2? It is going to be the positive. So we're going to bring down a positive 2 equals 5. All right, so now we're just solving for y, right? So we're going to say minus 2 to both sides because we want y on one side by itself. So we're going to move that 2. And when we do that, those 2's cancel. And that leaves us with y equals 3. And we have just solved this equation that has an absolute value in it. So you can see we just treat it just like we did above. If anything that's inside the absolute value, it becomes a positive. And if it's outside the absolute value, it stays like it was. Okay?